Long time no see, guys.
How are the D-line drills for you?
They're fantastic. I'm learning a lot with the defensive line.
What's the purpose
So they're masters at hand-to-hand combat, and anything that I can gain from them, any knowledge that I can get from them, is invaluable to me. So I usually go down there and practice with them occasionally, just because they have so much to teach me.
beating corners off the line, stuff like that?
Right. So especially with our corners, our defensive backs like to get handsy at the line of scrimmage. So the more I can do in terms of getting their hands off of me, combating what they do at the line of scrimmage, the easier it is for me to get off the press.
So you're like a nose tackle, 5 tech?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'd be a 3-tech for sure. Yeah. Don't all jump at once, guys. Come on.
There's a lot of new faces in your receiver room right now.
There is.
What do you make of some of the new draft picks? Kamara, David Moore, Stuart Grayson, and some of the guys that are coming in?
No, it's a great group of guys. Again, John and Pete, they do a great job of bringing people in to compete and to push the older guys and to push and compete with the younger guys as well. And they've done a fantastic job. And I think this group specifically speaks to the type of players that we like in our receiver room, and that's the hard-nosed guys who don't come in with a lot of hype around them. They just go out there and they do what they have to do. They're the tunnel workers, if you will. The dirty workers, and so I appreciate the guys we got in because they work hard.
For wide receivers,
How much extra attention have you given Grayson, considering that he hasn't played a whole lot of football and comes from the track background?
To be completely honest with you, he hasn't really needed much attention. He's done a fantastic job of learning the playbook, so he knows the concepts really well right now. What I'm really impressed by is he's picked up our 2-minute signals already, and he knows the route concepts. He knows how to run routes, and he's extremely fast, as we all know. So I'm really excited to see what he can do when we get against real competition, when it's full speed, because he's got a lot of talent, and I think he can help us for sure.
how much easier is it for a receiver coming out of college, coming out of a pro-style offense to try to pick up an NFL system?
It's much easier. If you come from a pro-style offense, the concepts, the play calls, the verbiage, all of that is you've heard it before. And so it's easier for you to transition from college to the pros. And so, I can speak personal experience behind it. With Jim Harbaugh and his pro-style offense, when I came to Seattle, the verbiage was almost the same. And so my transition was seamless. And so I think that's a great advantage for any player that's coming from the college ranks that's been exposed to pro football or the pro-style offense.
And are there routes that you're just not running in college from the spread offenses that you're just not running in college that you are in that?
No, all the concepts are the same. Even if it's a number system or if it's a look to the sideline and get the route concept system, the concepts are all the same. It's just the verbiage and then understanding the defense. So a lot of the times, a lot of players now in college, you see them look to the sideline. The coach is telling them what route to run. Whereas with us in a pro-style offense, we have to actually read the defense. The quarterback's reading the defense, communicating with the receivers are communicating with the quarterback. And so you have that type of that connection and that conversation that's being had on the football field, where sometimes in college they just don't have that. They're just being told what to run.
Had a couple of days with Austin Davis out here now. What impressive to him?
Yeah, he's a great kid. I haven't been able to spend too much time with him, but we'll see how he does.
How accurate was all this offseason talking with your offense versus defense and all that?
As accurate or as inaccurate as you want to make it?
How accurate was it from you being on the inside? Is it true? Is it false? Is it garbage?
My answer would be it's the nature of the business, right? It's the off season, pre-draft time, so there's always going to be conversations about these drastic moves, about things going on in locker rooms, because we have to create buzz, right? It's kind of a lull time in the media for the NFL, and so you have to create stories. No offense to you guys, that's your job, but at the same time, I think a lot of it was made about nothing, about little, right? If I'm speaking candidly, yes, we have issues in our locker room? Do we have arguments and disagreements? Of course. Every locker room does, and what I think makes our locker room so great is that we are transparent, is that we are upfront with each other. We do hold each other to a high standard of accountability. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't look from the outside, it doesn't look healthy. But I think that's why we've been so successful. And Pete and John have done a great job of creating an environment where they cultivate this individuality, they celebrate individuals, they allow us to be who we are, because ultimately that's going to lead us to be the best that we can be. And then in the bigger picture, that helps our team be the best that we can be. So, again, I just think it's a story about nothing. It's just the family dynamic that we have in our locker room that truly is special. So, to that point, I think you're just talking about a normal locker room.
Is it a tough line to balance between going where it is something you can build upon and move forward with to where it would spiral out to become an issue? How tough is that to potentially manage?
It is tough, but you're speaking to some of the most elite competitors in the world, and I'm not trying to be boastful about the guys in our locker room, but that's truly what it is. You have a whole bunch of alpha males who that's all they want to do is dominate their position. That's why they're out here. That's why they get paid to do what they do. If everybody can do it, everybody would. But it is a fine line. It is a very fine line. And again, to Pete and John's credit, they've created an environment that cultivates that pushes you to that line. But once we touch it, we always come back. We always come back to center, and we always refocus. At the end of the day, we all know what we're fighting for, right? And we can always get back together and head in that direction. So, yes, it is a fine balance, but I think we've done a masterful job. Pete and John and the players in our locker room have done a masterful job of making sure that it doesn't go spill overboard.
You've known Richard longer than anybody. I mean, is there anything different about him now, having gone through whatever happened in the offseason?
He's just old. He's just old. He's losing some hair, getting some gray hairs. That's about it. No, he's still the fantastic teammate that he's always been. Obviously, the outstanding player on the football field. There's really nothing different. When all this stuff came out, I know you guys thought that maybe there'd be some internal issues with it, but really, it passed over like it was nothing. Like we understand in the locker room that there's always going to be things coming out, and we understand that we each have each other's back in that locker room. So it really wasn't even a discussion.
You guys obviously value toughness and people who have been through adversity. I'm sure you know a lot about his story and what he's been through and where he came from. What are your thoughts on that?
No, he has a wonderful story, if you can call it wonderful. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but also a story of perseverance, and it definitely speaks to the type of person he is, the type of person he's shown us since he's been here. I actually have a friend that I played with at Stanford. He's one of the coaches at Michigan, so I was able to get firsthand knowledge of the type of kid he was in college, and nothing but good things, and what he's shown us out here on the practice field, also in the meeting rooms, is that he's going to compete at the highest level, and that's all we ask for, is a guy to come in and be willing to work as hard as everybody else in the room, and he's shown that, so I'm excited for his progress and his future as well.
Talk about the young receivers. What about the rookie defensive backs who are going against them?
Oh, they're trash. No. Don't take that personally and run with that, guys. No, it's simple trash talk. Those guys, they come in again. I'm really excited about this draft class because none of them have shown any complacency, any mindset of, oh, I was drafted and I've arrived. None of them have shown that. All of them have come out here and worked extremely hard. They've been willing to listen to the veterans. Shaquille listening to Sherm as he's coaching him up, and that's an important aspect for these guys to get a head start. And so all of our guys, including the defensive backs, have done a great job of working hard and honestly just shutting up and listening to the vets to make sure that they have all the tools in their belt to go out and perform at a high level for us.
Was there much discussion in the locker room with Colin Kaepernick and the team's pursuit of him? And now that it kind of went a different direction, and is there much reaction to that? Or?
No, not at all. Just again, it's the nature of the business. We know Pete and John are gonna overturn every stone, look for every advantage, look for every competitor to come in here, and so no, not a surprise at all when his name popped up.
I know you were in communication with Colin last year. Just what's your overall take on why he still doesn't have a team right now?
I think it's simple. Again, it's the business of the NFL. Right now you have a lot of young guys who are looking for opportunities. The organizations, they're going to be giving the younger quarterbacks, the younger guys, the first and second look. They know what Colin can do. They know that he's a starter in this league, and so they're going to give every opportunity for the young guys to compete, show their talents, and then whatever falls, then he'll get an opportunity once all this dust settles.
So you think kneeling and social activism, you feel like that has had a role in him not finding a team? Or
yeah, I can't say that it didn't completely, or that it doesn't completely. I think, yeah, to some degree, but I think that's really minor. There's 32 teams out there. Not all of them really care about that. So I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to have a job here rather quickly.
What was Richard's mindset? You were talking about him earlier, just when his name was being floated in big trade talks. It was almost a 2-month span there where the team was talking publicly about it. Just from your conversations with him then, what was it like?
Yeah, he was just focused on his craft. You know, he couldn't really control anything that was being said, any of the rumors, or you know, even if he was going to go anywhere, he couldn't control that. So, what he did was focus on his craft. He came in here and he worked, and you know, he made sure his body was healthy, and he was getting ready to go for OTAs. And obviously, he's here and working his tail off. So, we leave it at that.
Doug, David Moore's kind of late to the position, played at a D2 school. What do you kind of see from him at this stage, and how he is as a receiver and how far he has to go?
Yeah, he's got great hands. First and foremost, that's the first thing I noticed about him is he's got great hands and he's really smooth. He's got to work on his transitions a little bit. Just, you know, any receiver coming from, you know, not a receiver background, he's got to learn that part of it. But he's done a fantastic job. And again, like I said, I can't harp enough about how hard these guys work. And David Moore's no different. He's working extremely hard on his craft and he's getting better every day.
Watching you develop as a receiver over these last few years, and leadership has become more of an important thing. How important is it to you now at this point to kind of run that room and teach these young guys and bring them in?
Yeah, it's vitally important. As you get older, you realize some of the dumb things that you did in the past, right? You recognize those things, and then you want to pass those lessons on to the younger guys. And so whether it's in life or in football, I want to provide those lessons, if you will, not to touch the stove, right? Just as when we were all kids. I want to pass it on to these young guys, and they've given me the opportunity to do that. They look to me in those moments, and I take that with pride. You know, I want to serve these guys to be the best leader that I can, the servant leader that I can, so that ultimately we can be successful on the football field and win games.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.